and what are some of the things that it has done to improve the welfare and to empower young people. A very good morning.
Thank you, Sharon.
How are you?
Very well, thank you. And good morning, viewers. It's very nice to be here.
Yes. Tell us a little bit about Sauti 116. What is it about?
Thank you very much. Sauti 116 is a child helpline. It's under the Ministry of Gender, handling cases of child abuse, gender-based violence, and it's a toll-free number whereby we receive cases of child abuse, gender-based violence, and why Sauti? Because it's a voice for the voiceless. We believe that children do not have a voice. So the word means voice in Swahili, but basically it's to give an extra voice for the children and to stand out for them. So what the government is doing under Ministry of Gender is to provide that platform whereby children can be able to reach out for help and also be supported.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. How do you have so many people calling in?
Oh yes.
Okay.
In a day actually we can get about 850 calls.
Wow.
Yeah, because it's a 24-hour service, meaning it's working from morning to morning. So on average you can get about 850 calls or even 1,000. And in those calls, we also have cases.
Okay.
And by cases, I'm meaning issues of child abuse, issues of gender-based violence, and that's why actually we are here to throw more light on the Day of the African Child. That's where Sauti comes in.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I was actually going to say something about that. So every 16th of June, every single year, we get to celebrate and be a part of the Day of the African Child. Some people know it as DAC.
Yeah.
But why is the Day of the African Child very important, you know, for even the African children or the parents to even be aware about?
Thank you very much. The Day of the African Child is really important. One, it's a day that is used to commemorate or to remember some heroes in our children. And why I say that, in 1976, June 16, some children took to the streets in South Africa, and they were coming against the issues of inferior education that was being given unto them, and then of course education was being given to them in a language that wasn't theirs. By that I mean Afrikaans. So they went to the streets to exercise their dissatisfaction, such that government could come in, such that at least they improve the quality of education, but also teach them in their local languages. And of course, because it was a strike, the government came onto these children and they shot at them. Hundreds died, more came onto the streets, and again others were injured. So some years later, to be precise, in 1991, the OAU initiated the need to mark this day in remembrance of those children and their heroic act. Yeah, such that acts that affect the children or harmful practices can be addressed. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's the genesis of the African Day.
Okay.
Day of the African Child.
Okay. What are some of the issues that have been considered problematic in the welfare of children, making them stay back, not to go to school, or issues that have really affected them to not become people of substance in society in Uganda?
Thank you very much, Sharon. Again, the issues that affect children are quite a number. They range from poverty. Some parents are not able to keep their children in school. Then they also range from the issue that these children don't know what to do. They don't know where to go when they have challenges. So these issues range from child neglect, whereby, for example, a father or a mother will refuse to take the child to school. Then they range from issues of child marriages, of teenage pregnancies, female genital mutilation. So all these issues are affecting children, and with this day, the Day of the African Child, we come in to bring this to light, such that the government or the population can rally behind the government to be able to fight against these vices. Because at the end of the day, the child needs to be protected. They need to enjoy their childhood.
Yes.
Yeah.
Despite whatever is happening.
Yeah.
Now, I understand that the government can do so much, but it also, for so many of the things that you're talking about, they seem like they stem from home. If it's poverty, how are the parents helping out to make sure that this child enjoys that the childhood, like you said? If it's child marriage, how is the family aware, or is it even aware that it's illegal? You know, so the government can only go so far, but the foundations and everything are from home. So what are some of those things that maybe parents should start to think about? That it's not about having money, it's not about certain things that you do not have, but with what you have, you can actually raise your child to think differently and to still believe that they can have a better future.
Yeah. Thank you again, Sharon. And I like what you said, that what can the family do? Because actually, in the principles that guide child work or child protection, issues related to children, we look at their best interest, but also at a family as being the best, or the first line of protection.
Yes.
So as government, laws have been brought in place. And these laws, what the government does through the Ministry of Gender and other partners, is we go into the communities. We go to the public and sensitize the community, and even in platforms like this, and tell them that actually there are laws that can actually hold you accountable if you go on doing this. Yeah, because some of them do the child marriages because they don't know that there are consequences. So when we come out like this and make it known to them, actually they will know that, wow, if I send my child into a marriage who is below 18, I can actually be imprisoned. So we bring it to light. And of course through other partners, because we can't also be everywhere. And also through platforms like I started the 116, because the good thing, even though some parents may not really know what to do, there are others in the community who actually know the truth, who know the right thing. So such people reach out to 116, they engage us, and for example, they will say there is this child in village A, she's going to be married off, and this is the parent's name, this is the else's name. So we take it from there to engage these families. Sometimes we have communal meetings or sensitizations, and even go out into the schools where we actually also tell the children their rights. So government is really doing a lot. They are putting laws in place, but these laws have to be, it will not be a one-man role. We have to hold hands with the government, the family, the caregivers, such that our children are protected, and to ensure that these laws are actually being observed. I don't know if I've answered your question.
I think sensitization is one of those things that actually has sort of improved, and you can see that even in communities, and the children now can stand for themselves and say, no, I'm not getting married. And with a toll number like that, I mean, that means that they can pick up that phone, call, and report their parents, you know, for their safety and for their future. Interesting.
And the good thing, and the good thing with the number is that it's free of charge. Whether this child has airtime, whether they have a phone or not, they can still reach us. They can also use a neighbor's number, a teacher's number, the else in the community can call anyone concerned. We are all caregivers in one way or another. So if you see a neighbor's child being abused, if you see your neighbor being abused by her husband, besides the children, it goes further. you can still call 116. Whether it's at 2 a.m. in the night, you can still reach us. There will be someone to talk to that person. There will be someone to give help and counsel. So it's really a good line that I would really want to ask the public to make use of. Yeah, you do not need airtime, you do not need a phone, as long as you can, for example, approach Sharon and say, Sharon, can I borrow your phone?
Yes.
And you're okay with it, they can reach Sauti.
Now I understand you're a counselor.
Yes, please.
And I'm just thinking about, you said you have about 158 calls every single day.
850.
850 calls.
Yes, 850 average, but
Yes.
it can go above 1,000.
Wow, every single day.
By day meaning from 7 a.m. to midnight.
You're a counselor. How do you undo that? You know, like psychologically, I'm thinking about that pressure of knowing that 850 children are out there and they're all having different issues. It might be domestic violence, it might be child marriage, it might be I have nothing to eat. How do you sort of even wound up after a long day like that? You yourself, you're a counselor, but how do you go through that psychological, you know?
Thank you very much. Actually, we receive 850 calls to 1,000 calls, but then cases, they could be between 30 to 40 in a day. So there could be prank callers.
Okay.
There could be someone inquiring about a certain service where you just give guidance on that. But then for the calls, for example, calls of, cases of child neglect, cases of denial of education, cases of child marriages, cases of domestic violence, those can be about 30 to 40 in a day. And the good thing, how I can handle is that I do not work alone. We are a team of people, a team of trained people. So it's not like one person is handling the 30 cases or the 40 cases in a day.
Does it affect you emotionally?
No.
Okay.
Because we've been trained
to handle.
And then this person is coming to you broken. So if they come to you when you're also broken, how will they be supported? So we are trained to cushion that.
Yes.
Yeah, to be able to help them heal through the processes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think you're doing a tremendous job, you know.
Thank you very much.
The celebrations come in every 16th of June.
Yes.
And tomorrow is that day. What's the theme and what are we celebrating this time around?
The theme globally the theme globally is that we are going to look at what is affecting children.
Yes.
The harmful practices affecting children, with emphasis on policy and practice since 2013. Now the national theme, because it
Uganda,
comes from the bigger one.
Yes.
Now the national theme will be to look at what has been to look at the progress Uganda has made as a country in handling what has been affecting these children since 2013, but with emphasis on practice and policies.
Okay.
Yeah.
You talked about policies since 2013.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate more about that?
By policies since 2013, there's policies that have been enacted by the government. Because like we've been saying, there are quite a number of issues affecting children.
Yes.
So without laws, without guidance, then it will really be hard to handle them. So some of those policies, for example, there is the sexual offense bill and the prevention against child sacrifice.
Okay.
That were later enacted into laws in May 2021. So such laws are there to help. Such laws criminalize those vices. Then there are also laws like the Child Policy 2020.
Okay.
Then there are also laws like female genital mutilation. We have the Constitution of Uganda. We have the African Charter on Human Rights and People's Rights. So there are quite a number of policies that we are using in handling the issues of children.
Okay. Now, why have you selected this to be the theme for 2022?
We've selected this theme because, one, we need to as a country evaluate ourselves to know the progress we've made since, in terms of development, in terms of adoption of these policies and practice, and to also understand what else needs to be done.
Okay.
Yeah, because these celebrations actually help us to review ourselves as a government. Yes, we are doing so much. Yes, these very good bills are being enacted. There are so many laws, but
are they working?
Then what? Yeah, so such days are giving us an opportunity to evaluate that, to see, since their enactment, since their development, are they being put in place? And if they've been put in place, are there any improvements? And if there are no improvements, what are the gaps
to be filled
in those policies? What is still lacking? But also, what more needs of children? Because we cannot say that all the laws are actually addressing everything. There could be other issues we do not know. There could be issues that were not issues in 2013.
Yes,
but now with the
post-COVID-19,
exactly, with the pandemic in place, there are consequences that came after, and there are certain issues that came on board.
And others have actually become bigger.
Exactly, there are now issues of mental health. We are now seeing issues of suicide in schools. So there is quite a number that really needs to be evaluated to inform the government to plan better, and also to inform our partners to do better.
Wow. Thank you so much, Miss Ayanga. We'll take a short commercial break and we'll be back still speaking about the Day of the African Child, why we're celebrating and why we've chosen the theme to throw more light or put the spotlight on the issues affecting these children. Like she just said, we noticed that there's so many things that have sort of changed, and these issues have also evolved. What has the government done about that? What is the family, being the foundational stage or a place that is supposed to be a safe haven for children? What has it done to make sure that these children feel safe and that they have a good childhood? We'll take a break and we'll be back.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
Even with my grandson, a doctor at my side, I struggled to get the help I needed. But he saw something that day. He began to work day and night. He wouldn't quit, even when people said no. He wouldn't stop fighting. He knew something had to change, and his vision was bigger than anyone could imagine. He made it possible to receive quality medical services anywhere in Uganda by simply using a phone.
This is a story of a regular Ugandan just like you, who harnessed the power of technology to provide a solution for us. How about you tell us your story? UG needs more of you. To share your story, visit airtel.co.ug/UG needs more of you, or call or SMS 162. Airtel, the smartphone network.
What the book packages, great entertainment,
sports, telenovela, the movies.
There is something for everybody.
Go TV, this is where the stories live.
Get the best entertainment for any budget. With GoTV, you will have great entertainment for as little as 13,000 Ugandan shillings per month. GoTV, great stories, Zidiwano. GoTV Uganda, love it.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
You're still watching GMU Extra with me, Sharon Chondisha, and our lovely guest from Sauti 116, Miss Ayanga, right?
Yes.
And we are talking about celebrating the Day of the African Child, which is done every 16th of June every single year. It was started in 1976 after a group of children or youth decided to take to the streets their dissatisfaction with the government on how they were being treated, on how they weren't respected, how they were taught in a language that didn't belong to them in Soweto. Now on that day, so many children were killed, but because of that, the day has been commemorated, and we always remember these children, but also try to see that as a nation, what have we done to make sure that the African child is valued, is important, and that their life is changing, and that they have a lovely childhood as they transition into or metamorphose into different aspects of life. Now, we have been talking about children that sort of have a support system. That's a child that has a mother, father, or grandparent, or someone that's taking care of them. But we also have children on the streets. We also have orphans. How do you have some of those also reaching out to you on Sauti 116?
Oh yes, please. Thank you very much, Sharon, for that question. And yes, we have such support systems. One especially is that we are working with the KCCA for especially the street children, whereby we get them off the street to try and reintegrate them back into their families. Because at the end of the day, Sharon, we all have a belonging.
True.
Yeah, whether you're on the street, whether you're an orphan, you still have relatives. So these children come to the street because of a number of reasons. Probably they've been mistreated, probably they are in need, they are lacking certain basics. So as the government, we are working together with the KCCA to get these children off the street, but we do not just take them back home. It's a process that they transition through. We speak to them, we counsel them,
rehabilitate,
exactly, to understand what is the problem. And if they, for example, they came out of my home, Loi's home,
yes,
Loi could have other families.
Yes.
There could be aunties, there could be uncles, there could be grandparents. So we engage all these people to see, as we are integrating, what is the best place for this child. Because like I said earlier, the family is the best place of protection, and they will not be in these institutions for long. However, we also have institutions that children come into, like for example, we have Nakuru Reception Center, we have other establishments in other districts, in Arua, in Mbale, in Gulu, where such children are still brought in, and also other registered homes.
Yes, that take them on.
Yeah, such that as we are transitioning, as we are trying to reintegrate them, then they can be protected in these shelters for a temporary season. But also, we have other institutions like the Naguru Remand Home still. It's not actually to just keep, but it also handles children who are in conflict with the law.
What does that mean? In
conflict with the law, meaning they are on the wrong side of the law. Yeah, so it's not about...
So they've committed offenses,
exactly.
Maybe? Okay.
So they also go through such homes. We have places like Kampilingisa, where they still go there after they've been
rehabilitated,
convicted.
Okay.
Yeah, such that still they are reintegrated and helped to transition. Yeah, so it's a process. We have those who have not committed offenses, but we also have those who commit offenses.
Yes.
And as the government, actually, even though we advocate for children's rights, even though we advocate for the marriage rights or everyone's right because of the issues of gender-based violence, there are also laws such that if you violate those laws, you also are
held accountable.
Yes. Yeah, it's not about children's rights. Children have role. Our children have roles. So as a government, as an organization, we always put that clear. Even as we go to the communities, even as we go to the schools, because again, we do not want the public to think these people are just advocating for children's rights. They're making our children unmanageable. No, that is not what it's like. We tell the children their rights, their roles, their responsibilities, such that as they do their roles and responsibilities, they are able to enjoy their rights. And if they are doing their roles and responsibilities, but they are being violated, then this is the line you can reach out to. These are structures you can go through. Because again, it's not just Sauti 116. It's not just the laws like we mentioned earlier. It's not just KCCA. There are people who are not in Kampala. So we also have structures like the LC1s.
Leaders.
Exactly.
Yes.
So
Closest to the community.
Exactly. So we work with all the government structures. Yeah, depending on what the case is. It could be a case of a child who has stolen a hen, whereby the LC could actually come in, mediate, and it's resolved. Yeah, such that that case doesn't have to come to the national level. Yeah, so we have structures like the LC, but especially we work with the LC1 and the Secretary for Women and Children Affairs. Then we move to the sub-county, we move to the district levels, we work with the police. And we are so lucky in our country that in every community, in every district, in every parish or sub-county, there is a district. Rather, there is a police, police post. So if the else is not near you, then there is the police. And at every police station, there is someone responsible for children and the family.
Do these people that you're talking about that are responsible at every point, yes, at every level, do they undergo a training as well from the ministry? Like, how do you keep up with them to know how to handle all these cases and these children?
Yeah, thank you. Every person handling issues of children, they are really trained. And then we also have refresher courses once in a while to make ourselves aware of what is new on the table. Yeah, so we usually get refresher courses. It's not that they'll just pick anyone. You have to be trained. You have to understand what children are going through, how you handle them. Yeah. Okay.
Now, when KCCA came out and said they were taking the children off the streets, everyone was so excited. And I think we were told that if you sort of fuel them coming back by giving them handouts or whatever it is, you'll be arrested. Hasn't being arrested been thrown around so much that sometimes people just have a good heart and they want to give? Like, is it really that we actually people will be arrested when they continue to give and help out these kids on the streets?
Thank you very much, Sharon, for asking. Yeah, helping is really good. But like you've said, with that heart of giving, with that heart of helping, you're going to be fueling the vice. Yeah, next time today there will be one, next time there will be two, and before you know it, it's out of hand. Yeah, so I think for those with kind hearts, with good hearts, you can reach out to those homes. To homes that are, yeah, exactly. To homes that are helping children. To the police. Police has a child and family protection unit that handles such cases. You could reach out and support them. Sometimes they are underfunded. You could also reach out to the ministry and know how to help. I know you may be saying, but I want to give 1K. But if you rally behind your other good-hearted people, you can get something that could actually be beneficial, such that maybe even you could link up with KCCA to know where these children have been taken and support them, maybe give them some food, but not on the street. Otherwise, it won't go away.
Now, we've also seen that when they talked about it, the kids actually were swept off the streets. But then it's like there's always a mushrooming again. They talk about it, there's a rallying done, everyone is off the streets. Then again, we have more coming back like that. So it's like a back and forth. What is not exactly happening for us to have Kampala streets clean? They are clean, but without these children. Yes.
Like I said, Sharon, this is still a work in progress, and that's why we have days like the Day of the African Child to look at such policies that have been put in place, but they are not working. So we want to know what is failing, what are we not doing right. So we want to know the status of the policies, to evaluate ourselves, to know where we are failing, because at the end of the day, it's not just KCCA. We are quite a number of partners, so we shall sit together to improve the policy. To know that, for example, if sweeping them off the street, taking them to point A is not working, then we understand what is lacking in between there, such that this is addressed.
Okay.
Otherwise, it will not just happen at once. It's really a work in progress. And that's why I want to call upon the general public to hold hands with the government and support us. Because, like Sharon said, when you keep giving out those handouts, the children will keep coming back. Yeah, and you can't blame them, but it's your good hearts that are keeping them on the streets.
Okay. Now, how would you rate Uganda's progress when it comes to the Day of the African Child, or celebrating and helping understand that children have rights, that children need to be respected as well, they have roles to play in society, and let's give them a cushioning, let's help them as they grow, so that they're not struggling, or certain things are not standing in their way for them to sort of have features that we do not really understand. How do you rate Uganda's progress on that?
Uganda's progress, I would say it's really making tremendous strides from where we came from. One, we didn't have policies and laws in place, but now we have. Like I've said, we have the national child policy that we usually use in handling these issues, and this policy is basically looking at how to improve the well-being of the children. It's a holistic approach on how the children's well-being can be improved. Then it has made progress because we have issues like the Sexual Violence Act. Yeah, there's been in the past many cases of child marriages, forced marriages, defilement, female genital mutilation. So with such acts in place, then we are able to know, if we get such a case, how do we deal with it? So it has made a lot of progress by giving such guidance. Then we have policies that prohibit child sacrifices.
That's actually something that I've taken some time without hearing, which seems like it's very good progress. Because there's a time, I think around 2007 or a few years back, where that was such a big vice, you know? But it was so painful for parents that kept losing their kids, and then you hear the child is in Lusaze, and then their head is found here, beheaded. Yeah, I think that's a good one.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yes, that there's
kudos to the government.
Yes. And all the other people that are supporting in the
so
fight.
like you've said, now tomorrow we'll be able to know that actually that policy is working, and now the other ones will also know why are they not working, and we improve them.
It looks like also COVID-19 has affected or has brought more light onto certain things. I think there's a time when New Vision had carried a headline that said about 14 million Ugandans are mentally sick, and people were just thinking, wait, how does this even work? How is 14 million of Ugandans mentally unstable? And when we look at COVID-19 and the numbers that shot on mental illness, it's really, it's very, very disturbing. So I feel like, so do you think post-COVID sort of has also exaggerated or fueled certain vices or certain things that now people, that the children, we might have to look at different things instead, where female genital mutilation at some point was a hit in certain areas of Uganda. Right now mental illness might take precedence because it's now a bigger deal than female genital mutilation.
Thank you very much. And yes, COVID has really had a big impact on these vices. One thing for sure is that we know people's incomes were affected.
True.
So there is this parent who has 6 children going to school, probably one in P7, S4, S6, and they need school fees and they have no source of income. So there are issues of depression, there are issues of anxiety, there are so many issues coming in. So COVID has really done us injustice, but like I said, we are doing our best, because one thing for sure is that the loss of employment has contributed to so many cases, not just mental illness, but there is so much neglect, child neglect. There are so many parents who think giving away their children in marriage will solve the issues. And here you are, a neighbor has called, or a concerned citizen or a teacher, saying there is a 12-year-old going to be married off tomorrow. But as you're following, it's actually the parents who are conniving with this perpetrator to marry off the child. Yeah, so a lot has been happening, and it's really unfortunate. But again, as parents, I think we still have to give our children a chance. Yeah.
How do you actually resolve some of those conflicts? Because some things are, for example, with certain religions, it's okay to marry a child of, not even religion, culturally, so long as the child looks like they can give birth and they can be a parent, please go ahead. And while for some people it's actually no, it's a no-go area. How do you sort of maneuver or even find those parents and talk to them to make them understand? Maybe that was then, but right now the child can have a brighter future. They'll be the one to take care of you in your old age. So how do you sort of maneuver around those issues where you find culture versus law, you know, or parents versus children on their rights, and they feel like you're actually making them indisciplined? How are you telling my child I can't beat them? What do you mean?
Or marry off.
Or marry off, yes. I'm the man in the family. Yes.
Yeah, and again, Sharon, that's where again the laws come in play. Yeah, we cannot shy away from them, and again, like we all know, some of these parents are doing this out of ignorance. Yes, that was then, but now the times have changed, and as you get to know who these parents are, you sit them down, take them through the laws. Educate them, let them understand that actually if I marry off my child at this age, there could be other issues that will arise. The child can get sick, they could be infected, they could get spinal bifida, and like there could be other adverse effects. So you educate them through the process. It's not like if there is someone going to be married off, you go get